On September 19, 2022, we acknowledge that the sacred land in which Smiths Falls is now located has been a site of human activity for over 10,000 years and is rich in Indigenous history. This land is the ancestral and unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. We're grateful to the Algonquin ancestors who cared for the land and water in order that we might be here today. We're also grateful to the Algonquin people for their contribution in the making of the Rideau Canal, which runs through Smiths Falls. We're mindful of broken covenants and the need to reconcile with all our relations. Together, may we care for this land and each other, drawing on the strength of our mutual history of nation building through peace and friendship, and being mindful of generations to come. I will call the meeting to order. I do have a couple of announcements, or actually a few proclamations today. Big Brothers Big Sisters Month. Whereas Big Brothers Big Sisters of Lanark County is an important community organization committed to helping children and youth reach their full potential by matching them with caring volunteer mentors. Whereas evidence-based research has shown that for every dollar invested in Big Brothers Big Sisters mentoring, society gets a return of $23. In addition, youth who have a big brother or big sister are less likely to bully or be bullied, feel better about school, and are more likely to have a healthy and positive outlook on life well into adulthood. And whereas we believe that by changing the course of young lives, we can in turn be changing the course of a community's future, that it could lead to a reduction in poverty and unemployment, to safer schools and neighborhoods, or to a renewed optimism for growth. Whereas Big Brothers Big Sisters of Lanark County rely heavily on the strength and dedication of its volunteers, who through their commitment and support make a profound difference in the lives of children and youth in our community. And whereas the agency's goal is to expand its recruitment drive in order to serve more children and youth in the community. Now, therefore, I, Sean Panko, Mayor of the Town of Smiths Falls, do hereby proclaim September 2022 as Big Brother Big Sister Month. I encourage everyone to volunteer or donate by visiting https://lanark.bigbrothersbigsisters.ca and learn more about how you can get involved in giving young people the confidence to achieve more. You may notice in the evening now our water tower is lit purple in honor of Big Brothers Big Sisters Month in Smiths Falls. Second proclamation is Alzheimer's Society Lanark leads Granville World Alzheimer's Day, September 21st, 2022. Whereas World Alzheimer's Day takes place annually on September 21st, is a day in which organizations dedicated to fighting Alzheimer's disease and other dementias can raise awareness about this cause. Whereas people with dementia in our community are made to feel accepted and welcome throughout the town of Smiths Falls, and that Smiths Falls is an inclusive place for people living with Alzheimer's disease and other dementias and their care partners and families. And whereas the Alzheimer's Society Lanark leads Granville provides support, education, programs, and services to all citizens of Lanark County. Whereas the well-being of persons living with Alzheimer's disease and other dementias is of value to all in our community and supports our community as a whole. Now, therefore, I, Sean Panko, Mayor of the Town of Smiths Falls, do hereby proclaim September 21st, 2022 as World Alzheimer's Day in the town of Smiths Falls, and urge all citizens of our community to celebrate, show support, and raise awareness this World Alzheimer's Day. And on September 21st, our water tower will be lit blue to recognize Alzheimer's disease and battle against it. And final proclamation is recognition of September 30th as National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. Whereas the Truth and Reconciliation Commission released its final report on June 2nd, 2015, which included 94 calls to action to redress the legacy of residential schools and advance the process of Canadian reconciliation. Whereas the recent discoveries of remains and unmarked graves across Canada have led to increased calls for all levels of government to address the recommendations in the TRC's call to action. Whereas all Canadians and all orders of government have a role to play in reconciliation. Whereas recommendation number 80 of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission called upon the federal government in collaboration with Aboriginal peoples to establish as a statutory holiday a National Day for Truth and Reconciliation to ensure that public commemoration of the history and legacy of residential schools remains a vital component of the reconciliation process. Whereas the federal government has announced September 30th, 2021 as the first day of National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, National Orange Shirt Day, and a statutory holiday. Therefore, be resolved that the Council Corporation of the Town of Smith Falls does hereby commit to recognizing September 30th, 2022 as a National Day of Truth and Reconciliation, National Orange Shirt Day, by sharing the stories of residential school survivors and their families and communities. And therefore be resolved that the water tower will be illuminated in orange for the week of September 26th to 30th, and the survivors flag be raised on September 30th, 2022. In addition, the town will be hosting a Every Child Matters Truth and Reconciliation event starting at 6:30 on the evening of September 30th. The gathering will occur initially in Centennial Park. There'll be a procession over to Duck Island at twilight when the event will occur. So the whole community is welcome to join us on the evening of September 30th, starting at 6:30. Okay, that's it for my proclamations. I have no further announcements. Moving on with our agenda, I'll ask for disclosure of monetary interest. I see none. We have no delegations. We do have adoption of minutes with Councillor Brennan, please.
Thank you. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor McKenna, that the minutes of the July 11th, 2022, August 2nd, 2022, and August 22nd, 2022 council meeting be approved as circulated.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Brennan and seconded by Councillor McKenna, that the meetings of the July 12th, 2022, August 2nd, 2022, and August 22nd, 2022 council meetings be approved as circulated. All in favor? That is carried. Reports. It's been a little while. I'm sure we have some reports. Councillor Allen was quick to get her hand up.
Just a very quick one. The Railway Museum of Eastern Ontario had their Train Fest on August 13th. It was the best ever. We had over 1,200 attendees, 600 or more each of the days. We grossed $20,000 for the event and net $19,000. So we're really happy with that. On September 24th, we're hosting a Harry Potter event. Train rides are already sold out for the event, but if you come to it, you will be seeing all of the Harry Potter characters, courtesy of the board members that will be dressed and acting as them. So it should be a fun day.
Thank you. Additional reports. Yes, Councillor McKenna was up first.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just wanted to report back on the Lanark County Council Corporate Services and Community Services meeting on September 7th, which I attended. County Council actually released their report on municipal tools to support affordable housing. They followed Smith Falls' lead and developed the task force, and their report was released at that meeting with 44 recommendations. Some of them are short, medium, and long term. Just to highlight, they actually are encouraging municipalities to include a definition of affordable housing in our official plans. They're encouraging Smith Falls and county municipalities to develop housing targets and to develop and implement a monitoring process for annual housing targets. They're strongly encouraging Smith Falls and county municipalities to exempt development charges when affordable housing is being created. And finally, their county adopted the report and all of the recommendations. At the meeting, the county also supported the municipality of Hanover resolution requesting the province acknowledge the shortage of healthcare worker disciplines and that the province take steps to increase the number of practicing physicians in Ontario. So both housing and critical health worker shortage were on the agenda and supported at the county level. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Councillor Rutherford.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is from the Downtown Business Association. The DSFBA is very pleased to announce that the Ontario Minister of Infrastructure, King Masurma, will be joining MPP John Jordan at the Back on Beckwith opening ceremonies on October 1st at the Town Hall. Part of the goal of Back on Beckwith is not just for celebration, but is also to invite and introduce the revitalized downtown to both residents of Ottawa and Kingston as a pleasurable day trip. So please watch for details on the DSFBA's Facebook and web page as things are being added almost daily. Thank you.
We're all looking forward to it. Any further reports? I've got a couple myself. Back on August 29th, I was fortunate to greet all those involved with the Spinning Wheels Tour at Lower Reach Park. This group, which is Jim Redmond, Steve Ireman, and Micah Darling Logren, journeyed the 8,000 kilometers across Canada on bikes to raise awareness and funds in the fight against Parkinson's disease. So they spent a morning in Smith Falls. They were greeted by local advocates, and then headed on their way. I know they just recently made their way to Newfoundland, and I think it wrapped up their tour. So an incredible experience going across the country to raise awareness and funds for the fight against Parkinson's disease. September 10th, keeping with that theme of Parkinson's, I participated in the Parkinson's Super Walk in Perth. Congratulations to Pat Evans, Gail Truman, and everyone else involved. Raised over $80,000, and that money comes right back into our communities to try and help support people living with Parkinson's. So another incredibly successful event. On the 14th, last week, I was fortunate to participate in the grand reopening in Echo Tours. Thank you, Debbie, for the invitation. Echo Tours, of course, has been a long-term mainstay on Chambers Street, recently moved up to Davidson's Courtyard. Of course, the pandemic wasn't a great time for travel, so people are eager to get out and travel, and Echo Tours is there to try and help provide support for those members of the community and abroad who are looking for organized tours and travel. September 15th, last week, I participated in the regular meeting of the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan Committee. Again, we meet usually quarterly, and great progress and great involvement by a variety of agencies into a number of topics which are very relevant to our community. Last week, we had a pretty broad, important discussion regarding mental health and the challenges that have emerged. They were there before the pandemic, and certainly have worsened since, and there will be more dialogue related to that. On the weekend, like many other people, I did have the opportunity to attend Clockwork Mysteries, and just a great event at the Station Theatre, and Councillor Brennan and Jackie were there. And great to see the kids involved, and frankly, a lot of people from out of town who come to see this incredible experience. We're blessed to have Ted and Marion in our town, demonstrating their world-class talents for us, and of course, everyone who wants to be there. I believe there's 2 more shows for anyone who hasn't yet had a chance to attend. And in the evening, I had an opportunity to participate in the Opens face-off for the Smith Falls Rideau Leafs alumni game at the Smith Falls Memorial Community Center, and very entertaining game. I think they're pleased with the crowd. People are anxious to get out and see, and of course, a lot of the Leaf legends that many of us would have seen in earlier years participating. I do think, though, it was I think Brett Costello, who was a member of the Rideaus, playing for the Leafs, scored 5 goals against his team, and so I think the actual end result probably could be under consideration if Brett's goals account for the Rideaus instead of for the Leafs. But anyway, a great evening. Hopefully, make this an annual event. And then this morning, along with Councillor Brennan, I had an opportunity to participate in an active remembrance for Queen Elizabeth II, put on by the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 95 at our cenotaph. And it was a fairly short but a very heartwarming and appropriate event as we see, I guess, the funeral, of course, earlier today with Queen Elizabeth and her burial a little bit later on. So great job by the Legion to put that together in a short period of time. And that's it for my reports. We have 1 bylaw. So over to you, Councillor Dwyer.
Thank you. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor McKenna, that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meetings on July 11th, 2022, August 2nd, 2022, and August 22nd, 2022 be received and read a first time and taken and read a second time.
Moved by Councillor Dwyer, seconded by Councillor McKenna, I believe. Sorry, yes. That the bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council at meetings held on the July 11th, 2022, August 2nd, 2022, and August 22nd, 2022 be approved as circulate. Sorry, be received by the first time and taken as read a second time. All in favor? That's carried. Discussion, Councillor Dwyer?
Thank you. This is strictly an administrative matter required to pass formally the minutes of previous meetings so that they may appear on the record.
Thank you. And we have the third reading, please.
Thank you. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor McKenna. Sorry, thank you. That a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meetings on July 11th, August 2nd, and August 22nd, all of 2022, be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10376-2022.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Dwyer, seconded by Councillor McKenna, that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meetings on the July 11th, 2022, August 2nd, 2022, and August 22nd, 2022 be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10376-2022. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And as if we're only bylaw today, we have one motion with Councillor McGuire, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Allen, the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Smith Falls receive report 2022-129, Partners for Climate Protection Program Milestone 1 as information. And further, the council endorsed the establishment of a climate protection working group to be tasked with developing recommendations for council considerations related to greenhouse gas emission reduction targets and initiatives to achieve the targets.
Thank you. Discussion, Councillor McGuire.
Yeah, so this is great work from CAO Morris and the team at the town hall. Going forward, to date, I believe we've been able to save about 3% of our greenhouse gas reductions, and we've seen significant savings in our utility bills. As prices continuing to increase, it'll be great to find more savings, and this task force will be able to identify the next round of low-hanging fruit for this initiative.
Thank you. Any further discussion? I see none. It is moved by Councillor McGuire, seconded by Councillor Allen. The Council of the Corporation of Town of Smith Falls received report 2022-129, Partners for Climate Protection Program Milestone 1 as information. And further, the council endorsed the establishment of a climate protection working group to be tasked with developing recommendations for council consideration related to greenhouse gas emission reduction targets and initiatives to achieve the targets. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Inquiries or announcements? Councillor Brennan.
Oops, yeah, I have a couple. I wanted to let council know and everyone watching know that on Wednesday, this Wednesday, September 21st, someone who actually is related to me, her name is Christina Shawiniak, and she's the author of Wind, Gravel, and Ice, will present a most interesting account of her grandfather, Claude Hill's World War II experience in Iceland. Mr. Hill was born and raised in Smith Falls and enlisted, as did many from Smith Falls, to serve Canada. The book describes an important and little known part of Canada's military history and will be of interest for anybody that wants to attend. It's at 7 p.m. It's at the Legion, and the event is totally free. It's sponsored by the Legion and the Rotary Club of Smith Falls. So I have the book, and it's of great interest. So there's that one. And then on Sunday, after 2 years of COVID, the Evergreen Committee has been active the whole time. We have not been able to have a event or a ceremony. Evergreen Avenue is a function of real. It's a living monument in Smith Falls. There are, if you walk down the pathway, you'll see memorial stones. So we're going to be dedicating a number of them for veterans and community builders. And that's going to be at 1 p.m. on Sunday at the Legion. And that, of course, is free. And it's been a long 2 years. The committee has worked all through that time. And we've actually come a long way. So that's 1 p.m. on Sunday. And finally, I just wanted to mention that I was at the grocery store on Sunday, and there was a table set up for pulmonary awareness, pulmonary fibrosis awareness. And we all know our friend Jackie Boyle-Sander, who passed away last year, and those were her supporters. And I just wanted to give a shout out to them. I'm wearing the green ribbon, which is organ donator ribbon. And so I would ask everyone to consider donating and actually donating their organs as well. But we miss Jackie. That's it.
Thank you. Councillor McKenna.
Well, if council will bear with me, there's just a little trivia. We've kind of gotten away from it, but Councillor Brennan has inspired me to try it again. So everyone knows that Smith Falls was incorporated in 1854, and 5 short years later, we built our town hall, 1859. But on that same time, an event happened in Smith Falls, and 2 things arrived in Smith Falls for the very first time. And I just wondered if my colleagues know what those 2 things are in 1859 showed up here.
I'm guessing a steam train and a steam boat.
Right on, Mayor Panko. 2 steam locomotives. And do you know how they got here? Up the Rideau Canal from Kingston, where they were manufactured on a barge. And they were dropped off in Smith Falls. And Smith Falls thought they had everything ready. So they rolled the first train off, which immediately sank, pushed the tracks right into the mud. So they had to back off. And a few days later, or quite a while later, actually, they took the train on its very first train trip out of Smith Falls to what community?
Kingston?
No, it was Perth. The very first, it was Perth. The very first train trip left Smith Falls for Perth. It was the first train trip in, it was neat that they were manufactured in Kingston and sent up here on the Rideau, but so that's according to my favorite Glenn Lockwood book. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Any further announcements or trivia? No? Okay. Motion for adjournment. Wendy.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor McKenna that this council adjourn its proceedings at 5:22 and stand so adjourned until the next duly called meeting of council.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Alford, second by Councillor McKenna. This council adjourns proceedings at 5:22 p.m. Stand so adjourned until the next duly called meeting of